Roger de Mortimer, 4th Earl of March and 6th Earl of Ulster, was a 14th-century English nobleman. He was considered the heir presumptive to King Richard II between the death in 1382 of his mother Philippa of Clarence until his own death in 1398. Roger Mortimer's father, the 3rd Earl of March, died in 1381, leaving the 6-year-old Roger to succeed to his father's title. Roger was placed under the wardship of Thomas Holland, 2nd Earl of Kent, and eventually married Holland's daughter Alianore. During his lifetime, Mortimer spent much time in Ireland. He served several tenures as Lord Lieutenant of Ireland and died during a skirmish at Kellistown, Carlow. He was succeeded by his young son, Edmund Mortimer, 5th Earl of March. Early life. Roger Mortimer was born the 11th of April 1374 at Usk in Monmouthshire. He was the eldest son of Edmund Mortimer, 3rd Earl of March, by his wife Philippa of Clarence, who was the daughter of Lionel of Antwerp, 1st Duke of Clarence, and granddaughter of King Edward III. Philippa passed on a strong claim to the English crown to her children. Roger had a younger brother, Edmund Mortimer, and two sisters, Elizabeth, who married Henry Hotspur Percy, and Philippa, who first married John Hastings, 3rd Earl of Pembroke, secondly Richard Arundel, 11th Earl of Arundel, and thirdly Sir Thomas Poynings. Wardship. According to R. Davies, the wardship of such an important heir was an issue of political moment in the years 1382–4. Eventually, on the 16th of December 1383, Mortimer's estates in England and Wales were granted for £4,000 per annum to a consortium consisting of Mortimer himself, the Earls of Arundel, Northumberland, and Warwick, and John, Lord Neville. The guardianship of Mortimer's person was initially granted to Arundel, but at the behest of King Richard's mother Joan of Kent, Mortimer's wardship and marriage were granted, for 6,000 marks, to Joan's son Thomas Holland, 2nd Earl of Kent. In August 1384, on or about the 7th of October 1388, Mortimer married the Earl of Kent's daughter Eleanor Holland, who was Richard's half-niece. Mortimer did homage and was granted livery of his lands in Ireland on the 18th of June 1393, and of those in England and Wales on the 25th of February 1394. King Richard had no issue. Thus Mortimer, a lineal descendant of Edward III, was next in line to the throne and married to his half-niece. G.E. Cochan states that in October 1385 Mortimer was proclaimed by the king as heir presumptive to the crown. However, according to R. Davies, the story that Richard publicly proclaimed Mortimer as heir presumptive in Parliament in October 1385 is baseless, although contemporary records indicate that his claim was openly discussed at the time. He was knighted by the king on the 23rd of April 1390. Career. After he came of age, Mortimer spent much of his time in Ireland. King Richard had first made Mortimer his Lord Lieutenant of Ireland on the 24th of January 1382 when he was a child of 7, with his uncle, Sir Thomas Mortimer, acting as his deputy. The king reappointed Roger Mortimer as his lieutenant in Ireland on the 23rd of July 1392, and in September 1394, Mortimer accompanied the king on an Irish expedition. On the 25th of April 1396, the king appointed him lieutenant in Ulster, Connaught, and Meath, and Mortimer was in Ireland for most of the following 3 years. In April 1397, the king reappointed him lieutenant for a further 3 years. Mortimer's residence in Ireland ensured that his political role in England was a minor one. His closest relationships in England appear to have been with family members, including his brother Edmund, to whom he granted lands and annuities, the Percy family, into which his elder sister, Elizabeth, had married, and the Earl of Arundel. who had married his younger sister, Philippa. His Davies points out, Mortimer's wealth and lineage meant that, sooner or later, he would be caught up in the political turmoil of Richard II's last years. On the 4th of September 1397, he was ordered to arrest his uncle, Sir Thomas Mortimer, for treason regarding his actions at the Battle of Radcot Bridge, but made no real attempt to do so. Even more inauspiciously, when summoned to a parliament at Shrewsbury in January 1398, he was rapturously received, according to Adam Uskin, the Wigmore chronicler, by a vast crowd of supporters wearing his colours. These events excited the king's suspicions, and on Mortimer's return to Ireland after the Parliament in January 1398, his enemy, the Duke of Surrey, his brother-in-law, was ordered to follow and capture him. Death on the 20th of July 1398, at the age of 24. Mortimer was slain in a skirmish at either Kells, County Meath, or Kellistown, County Carlow. The Wigmore chronicler says that he was riding in front of his army, unattended and wearing Irish garb, and that those who slew him did not know who he was. He was interred at Wigmore Abbey. The king went to Ireland in the following year to avenge Mortimer's death. Mortimer's young son, Edmund, succeeded him in the title and claim to the throne. The Wigmore chronicler, while criticizing Mortimer for lust and remissness in his duty to God, extols him as of approved honesty, active in knightly exercises, glorious in pleasantry, affable and merry in conversation, excelling his contemporaries in beauty of appearance, sumptuous in his feasting, and liberal in his gifts. Marriage and children. By his wife Eleanor he had 2 sons and 2 daughters: Edmund Mortimer, 5th Earl of March; Roger, Anne, who married Richard, Earl of Cambridge; Eleanor, who married Sir Edward de Courtenay, and had no issue. In June 1399, Roger Mortimer's widow, Eleanor, married Edward Charlton, 5th Baron Churleton, by whom she had 2 daughters: Joan, who married John Grey, 1st Earl of Tankerville, brother of Sir Thomas Grey, executed for his part in the Southampton plot which aimed to replace King Henry V with Eleanor's son, Edmund Mortimer, 5th Earl of March. Joan was co-heiress in 1425 to her step-brother, Edmund Mortimer, 5th Earl of March. Joyce, who married John Tiptoft, 1st Baron Tiptoft. Eleanor died 6 of the 18th of October 1405. Ancestry.